Hey did everyone, Juan Romero here from SwitchWatch. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got my review of Disjunction for you here on the Nintendo Switch. If you were expecting Cyberpunk to be an incredible game on the PS4 or Xbox One and it left a sour taste in your mouth, then worry not my friends. I have a nice little alternative for you, the Cyberpunk we should have had. Okay, that might be a slight stretch, but come on, stay with me. Let's break this one down and find out if it's worth your hard-earned cash. Let's begin with the story, which is actually quite a lot of fun to follow, more so because you get to make a few choices, which have actual consequences here. And I always like that, especially when it leads to different endings in the game, but more on that in a second. Disjunction is set in 2048 New York, and after the arrest of a prominent leader, it causes suspicions, and there's more to this arrest than meets the eye. With a drug known as Shard running rife through the city and its underworld, 3 hardened citizens seek to discover the truth and uncover a conspiracy. Now, while the story is not the most original, I rather enjoyed following the conversations between our 3 protagonists once you get to play them, and other characters throughout the game giving you various jobs, each job getting you deeper into this conspiracy story. What I enjoyed is how when completing a level, dependent on whether you left a raft of bodies or completed your task unseen using stealth, it will then drive that conversation. For example, early on, I was told to infiltrate a building quietly, and I decided to kill everybody on sight, and well, that didn't go too well with the person that gave me the job. You'll have other choices too, so when you get to the end of a certain level and you meet the boss, you get to decide whether you kill that person or hand them over to the police. Suffice to say, that may have a different outcome at the end of the game. You'll have to find that out though for yourselves. So in terms of gameplay, I have to say I had little expectations from Disjunction. I saw the trailer, had some interest in it because I like games with a bit of stealth, but I have to say I was not prepared for how the game actually gripped me. This is a stealth action RPG. Now you can choose to take on the levels with stealth, action, or a mix of both using some quality futuristic tech such as smoke grenades, plasma grenades, invisibility, holograms to take out an array of enemies, all with an interwoven narrative between the 3 protagonists. You will have to control all of them, and you don't get to choose. You follow the narrative, controlling each different character in points of the game, and that will appeal to some and maybe not others. Now, first of all, you'll take Frank on, and Frank has various skills from throwing a smoke grenade, so you can sneak up on enemies without them seeing you. And you can, of course, shoot enemies if you want to, but this is probably not always the best course of action, and I enjoyed deciding which sort of tactics I was going to use. At the press of a button, you can go into sneak mode and sneak up behind enemies and take them down in 1 or 2 hits. And enemies consist of guards with batons or guards more heavily armored with guns, and they'll become alerted if you're too loud too, so that sneak mode really is a lifesaver. Get in their field of vision though and all hell can break loose. There is a gauge though that has to fill up before they see you and investigate. If you leave a body around for them to find, they will do so and go on a higher alert status. There's even cameras and they'll alert everybody else, and then it's almost sort of game over. And I was having fun leaving bodies around to distract enemies and then creeping up and taking them down, or quietly taking down enemies one by one and removing bodies so that nobody would see what I was doing. The game from a top-down perspective works really well. You can see most of the enemies in a room and their vision, where they're looking. It's then up to you to use all of the equipment to the best of your abilities based on the patterns of those enemies to clear the area. And most missions in reality do play out the same way, each level becoming a little bit harder with more enemies to clear. As you get further in though, traps are added, causing you to lose health on electricity traps, or there are bots scanning the area which will shoot or electrocute you as soon as they notice you. Each have different fields of vision that you'll have to navigate in order to kill them and find their weaknesses. I think out of all three characters, Frank was one of my favorites. He was able to shock bolt enemies with a single shot of energy. Each skill you choose to use does use energy, and each will have a different cost. For example, Frank can also heal using 4 energy segments, with upgrades costing you less in time. He also has smoke grenades, which cost like 3 segments or something like that, and these energies can be collected from fallen foes, and it's really important that you have as many tactical moves in your arsenal for each level as possible. When you have no energy left, it does become a lot more difficult, leaving you with your sneak attack and, you know, a few pistol shots. So keeping ammo is also really important. You've also got Joe, who has a bionic arm, and he's really good at sort of melee attacks. He can throw grenades that take down weaker opponents, and he's also got a combat sim, making him more powerful for a limited amount of time. And once you sort of get to Spider, our hacker, she can use a holographic projector of her own cat, which made me laugh, but very useful for distracting guards for a limited time. Using invisibility also to get you past an area with enemies, so each have their strengths and their weaknesses, and I have to say I enjoyed controlling all 3. Now, once levels are complete, you will have conversations with NPCs and respond to questions with a number of choices. You'll have a number of upgrades which you can choose from too, and once you get to control Spider the hacker, things do become rather challenging, so the difficulty spike may catch out quite a few of you. I spent an hour trying again and again to get past one of the later levels, which can be a tad frustrating. Overall, though, I enjoyed traversing the levels, getting to know each character's strengths and weaknesses, and I just found it really compelling. In terms of visuals and performance, the visuals here, let's be honest, are not the most beautiful in the world. Here we have more pixel art, and I did like the journey used as the loading screen to get from place to place on the next mission. That train across that backdrop does look rather nice. I thought that the basics were depicted well enough. I would have preferred more detail, as it is rather rough around the edges, but it didn't stop me from enjoying the gameplay, and that's the most important thing. I would have loved a bit more colour in the levels themselves, but for what it is, it was fine. There was a larger problem at play here, and that was with the performance, which at times meant you'd have to restart the whole game. See, what happens is the game slows right down, and it doesn't seem to recover. It stays in a slowed down state, like you're playing the game at a constant slow motion. I definitely saw that this was more prevalent in handheld mode, but once you restart the game, it would correct itself. Still, that was a bit of a problem, and something a game like this should not be suffering from. Hopefully a patch will sort this out. I have let the developers know. Overall, though, I did think that the level designs themselves were pretty good. In terms of audio, I thought the game was rather good. It's got some nice audio tracks. They sound futuristic and atmospheric. Quite a lot of bass in them too. Late at night, I was told to turn it down a few times. There's nothing much more to say here other than the sound effects are fine for what they are. It comes together rather nicely. Disjunction's £12.99 or $15.99 in the US, and for the price you get over 30 levels, and trust me when I say it's going to keep you occupied for a good while indeed. Once you get to the spider levels and beyond, things really do get a lot more challenging, and for me it's a game well worth the price. While it doesn't have any 2-player modes or leaderboards, there is replayability if you want to sort of get the different endings from the choices you make within the game. From time to time, it's nice to review a game where I have no expectations whatsoever. This one completely won me over. Sure, Disjunction doesn't have beautiful looking visuals, and the story may not be anything we haven't seen before, but for a game like this that's rather cheap, it offers the one thing many fail to do, and that is engaging gameplay, which is really fun and gives you a number of options in which to take down enemies, whether action is more your bag or stealth, with a story where you can make decisions that have consequences in the ending you receive. 3 characters and their abilities keeps it fresh, especially that you're forced to use all 3. And I think that is rather important because of the intertwined story. And on top of that, some RPG elements are here in which you get to upgrade the character's skills in between levels. I did have some performance issues here, and that might detract a little bit from the game, but hopefully a patch will sort that out in the future. But for now, a very solid 7 out of 10 from me, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy this review, which we hope you did, smash that like button and subscribe and hit that bell notification if you are new here. For all of you existing subscribers and members that continue to support us, we very much appreciate your help and for building this channel, which we're really thankful for. It's allowed us to launch a new channel called Games Expanse, where we're taking a look at PS5 and Xbox Series X games. And if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have been able to do what we enjoy the most, which is game. So take care, everybody. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know if you're going to pick this one up or any other games that you're playing now on the Nintendo Switch. What are you looking forward to in 2021? Take care, everybody. My name is Juan Romero. I'll see you again on the next one.